Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Healthy Aging podcast, where we are on series 3 and talking all about fitness. We are very, very excited by our guest that we're speaking with today. She is a friend and a big supporter of this podcast. So Susie, if you wouldn't mind introducing our lovely guest.
That's the first thing that I want to actually hone in on, Lorraine, is how much she supports this podcast. So today we are speaking to my CrossFit Fife business partner, as Lorraine said, our friend, and a woman who is just so supportive of so many people on so many different levels. But when we started the podcast, I think Brenda was the first person to get on there, listen and start giving us her feedback. And she does it. She listens to the podcast while she's working out in the gym. And like I say, she just supports every single person that comes across her path. And she's an amazing, amazing person to work alongside in the business. I personally have learned so much from her, so much. And it took a lot to convince her to come on today. But we managed. We got there, Lorraine. And of course, Lorraine, you have worked alongside Brenda as well, because you used to work alongside periods in CrossFit Fife. And so, you know Brenda really well as well. So I'm dead excited for this podcast today, because I'm curious to hear what she's going to say. And I know that all the members of CrossFit Fife will be supporting her and listening to her as well, because she supports them in so many ways. So on we go with that question, Lorraine.
Okay, so Brenda, as you know, I don't need to tell you this. So we always start the podcast in the very same way, which is by asking our guest what their top 3 tips for healthy aging would be.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you very much for having me, guys. I'll not lie to you, this is like the most nerve-wracking thing that I've ever done in my puff. So my top 3, this was actually really harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought I had them like doof, and I definitely don't. My very first one though would be find something you want to do, because absolutely everybody has something that just grasps them. Now that, obviously I would like that to be CrossFit, but it's not, well, CrossFit is for everybody, I take that back, but not everybody wants to do CrossFit. So find something you want to do. And that then leads on to my second one, which whatever you choose to do, make sure you can incorporate some strength and mobility training in that. Strength training as you get older is by far the most important thing you'll ever do. Now that could be picking up a rucksack, putting it on your back, going for a 5-mile walk, going to the shops with your backpack, picking up bread and a couple of tins of beans and walking back. You can incorporate strength training in absolutely anything, whether that be a barbell, a kettlebell, a resistance band when you're doing your yoga. If yoga's your thing, get a resistance band in there. That's all going to be strength training to a certain degree. That's probably the biggest one, but I just think to do strength training, you have to find something you want to do with it. You can't just say to somebody, go to a gym and start lifting a barbell, a kettlebell, a dumbbell. Because if it's not your thing, it's not your thing, and it never will be until you go to a CrossFit gym like CrossFit Fife, obviously. And number 3, eating well. And it just goes hand in hand. If you eat well, you feel better, you want to go to the gym because you start looking better, and it's then your mental attitude comes into that. So you can go off in tangents, but really that's my 3 things. Find something you want to do, incorporate strength training into whatever you find for you, and eat well. Drink well as well. I mean, water. Make sure you get, you're dehydrating, you're hydrating yourself all the time. I really live by the 80-20 rule. 80% be as good as you can, 20% don't worry about it. And that's my 3.
Brilliant. Cheers, Brenda. And do you know something? The thing is, we look at healthy aging and how do we age well? And it's actually pretty simple. I mean, it's just about us incorporating it and making sure that we do it. Now, it's interesting because the first thing that you spoke about, right, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, not like me at all. But the first thing you said is like, do what you want to do, like find something that you want to do. And what I initially thought of, I didn't actually think it just from a fitness point of view. I thought from life in general. You know, because how many people, and you and I talk about this, how many people are in, for example, jobs that they're working Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, commuting an hour each way. They're going to do it till they're 65. They don't like what they're doing. They come home grumpy. because of that, they then don't go to the gym, they don't eat well, the kids get it, the wife gets it, or the husband gets it, and their full life is this vicious circle of, once I get to 65, things will be better, when actually it's not how it is it? It's like, we need to be finding something that we love doing now. And again, that's something that I think that you really, really promote so well. But you and John, so for our listeners, John is Brenda's husband, and both of you live a life which is fully fun. You don't put too much pressure on yourself. You definitely do a lot for others. I would say the most pressure you put on yourself is the amount you do for other people, because you are constantly giving to others. You always prioritise family. You spend so much time with the family. You work out, you eat well, and you have a phenomenal balanced life. You've got the dog, you've got away on camping trips, you've got, when you can, you are flying away to different places. So, and you have both chosen careers in the past that have allowed you to still have that lifestyle where you've got that work-life balance. And so, like, it's probably something you've not even thought about, but watching you every day and knowing you, what do you think about that I've said? Do you think that's a huge part of living well as well?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, I think that then incorporates your mental health. If you're working 9 to 5 in a job that you, and I know there's people out there who just have that has to be their life, that it doesn't have to be that's they can't, some people can't get off the treadmill, and that's what that becomes. It's just that treadmill of, oh my, one foot in step with the other, Monday to Friday, as you say. On Saturdays and Sundays, all you're doing then is catching up on maybe housework, or you've got to fit in the shopping, you've got to do this and that. And me and John, and I think we're very alike, John and I, that we decided long ago that even though our life is maybe on a treadmill sometimes, because everybody's life at some point is on a treadmill, whether you want that or not, it's just sometimes you get into a kind of, not a downward spiral, I don't mean that at all, but it's just how life is. Then you've got to then make that decision, right? Okay, we're not going to do the shopping then. We're going to go and do something fun instead. Because you can nip to the shop and be home that night. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think, it's a massive thing. I think that's a conscious decision people have got to start making. And if COVID has learnt us nothing else, that life is short. Get on with it. And I never ever wanted to be the person though that became at 65 and I'd done nothing up to that point, and then I had to cram it all in. Because I don't get that. I don't get why people have to wait till a certain time. I mean, we had kids young, so we had to wait to do a lot of things because we had the kids. So we incorporated what we wanted to do with our kids. So we took them up mountains, whether they liked it or not. They whinged, from the minute we started to the minute it stopped. But now they'll laugh about that. Yeah, and now they do that. So it's those kind of things as well. And you'll get that, Lorraine. You've got the 2 boys. Sometimes you've just got to drag them out there and do it with them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And there's your fitness before you even realise it. You're fit, you're doing fit things because it's fun.
Yeah, and I think with 2 boys, you realise early on, like, the more you can tire them out and the more you can keep them busy, like, the better it is. But it's going to be for you. Like, it's much better jumping in the car and going to the beach for a couple of hours and letting them run about with a football, and then coming back. And it means that you then do maybe get a wee bit of time to yourself if you need to do a couple of things if they've had fresh air. So they're simple skills, aren't they? A football and some foods I usually find, and that keeps them happy.
Really tick the box, can't you? Yeah, without a shadow, definitely.
But no, that's one of the things that I was really excited to have you on as well, Brenda, because we've been so lucky in this podcast. We're getting to speak to people with like such amazing backgrounds and experts in their field, and you're no different when it comes to CrossFit. But what I love so much is how you choose to live your life and how you show up every day. And I think that was one of the reasons I was dead excited to have you on. And something you said, which I loved, which was the 80-20 rule. So as you know, I'm like different from you guys when it comes to health and fitness stuff. Let's just leave it at that. But what I loved is the way you explained the 80-20 rule there. So 80% do the best you can, 20% don't care. Is that what you said? Or don't worry about it?
Don't fret about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I love. So it's not about 20% go and eat like 100 cakes and like do as much damage as you can with that 20%. It's actually just don't worry about it, which I love.
You'll go through life, and I've competed, so I know about eating. I know what I've got to eat before things. I know how to keep my body really well. But there's times in life that you just can't, you can't be bothered, you're tired. There's all those factors that factor into that sometimes. And what I really mean by that is if you have one bad day, don't make it 5 bad days. You know, if you decide one day, you know what, I'm having a cake, I'm having the hot chocolate, you know, have it. Because the minute you say to yourself, you can't have that, it becomes a thing. So you want that the next day and the next day. So have what you want and then say, right, I've had it. That's you done. You get up the next day and you don't have it. You know, but I don't think anybody should beat themselves up if they have a bad day with food. I'm very much 80-20. I work hard in the gym and I work hard working out all week. Come the weekend, I don't work out anymore. That's an aging thing though. There's your, you know, 80-20 as well. I used to work out 6 to 7 days a week. My body doesn't allow for that now. I have to rest. And to rest, you have to eat as well. You have to supplement your body again. You have to give the goodness all back. And sometimes that's maybe an Empire biscuit on a Saturday morning with a cup of tea. Okay, then, you know, I'm not going to beat myself up with that, but I'm not going to then have an Empire biscuit and then a Snickers bar. And then, you know, I'm not going to keep that going, but I'm going to sit with my cup of tea and enjoy my cake. I'm not going to fret over that. It's life, you know, life's too short. I come back to that. I'm a big believer in life's too short. Have the cake.
Yeah. Sorry, you going
to go Empire biscuit is totally influenced by Johnny Boy, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Johnny Boy loves an Empire biscuit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
From Stevens the Bakers. It's Stevens, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Stevens Bakers, best bakers ever. So yeah, but you like them when you come over as well, don't you?
Oh aye. Johnny Boy's got me onto the Empire biscuits as well, so he has. I can't eat a full one though, Brenda. I have to share mine. It's too much for me.
Yeah, you
look at it. You need to put more effort. Thanks, Susie. Ridiculous comment. You need to give it 100%.
Exactly. But you can be what John and I do. We sometimes half hours, as if that's going to be, we're not going to have the other half. It's like, we'll have half. That's not enough. So just keep working at it, Susie. You'll get there with it.
You'll get there. Get a wee couple of goals in place for that, and you'll
So, Brenda, have you always been into fitness? Has it been something? Because when we were talking, Lorraine hadn't realised I was fit in my army days, and then I left the army, and I really didn't do much because I didn't have to. But it's not that I wasn't forced to. Nobody was making me do it. So it was that thing of, you know, I was like, oh, I didn't really do it. And I really got back into fitness when I met you, and I was on a beach in Italy with some other CrossFitters, and I saw the bodies and went, oh my gosh, these females are older than me. I've all got better bodies. What are they doing? Oh, we're doing CrossFit. And then that's when I got back into my fitness, was because of that. So what about you? Have you always been into fitness? And what is your drive and motivation for it?
No. I've had dips like everybody else. And I think every woman, probably more women than men, have dips because of kids, because we get caught up in lifestyle probably more than a guy does. And that's not belittling that. It's just, I think that's life. When I was at school, I always played sport. I played ladies football for a lot of years. So I was a footballer. So that's what I played. I played football for many, many years at school, from school level all the way up to ladies. I played for Glenrothes ladies before I had the kids. So I only gave up football just before I had the kids. So played hockey, tennis. I was sporty. I was your tomboy. I wasn't your going to a pram with the dogs. I was out with the boys with the football under my arm. You could probably tell I am that kind of person. So yeah, I played sport all the way through school. I took up football. I kept football going when before we had the kids, and then life happened. I had kids. John was working shifts. I was working around John. We never really we had help with the kids, but we decided they were our kids as well, so we weren't wanting to put them to anybody. So we worked around each other. So then a lot of things for a few years went by the wayside, apart from walking, and we always liked a hill climbing and that kind of thing with the kids. And then really, then I found kettlebells, and kettlebells came with CrossFit. It was kettlebells that I found first within the CrossFit environment, and I was hooked. And you know, I love a kettlebell. It's my favourite thing in the world. So yeah, I would say I was pretty sporty all my days, though I had dips and dives when I'd done that. But it was football. I still hold, when we left, I used to work in a school, and that was my claim to fame. When the school closed, I was still the only person that got 70 keepie uppies in the trot for the primary 7 boys.
Well done.
That was immense in its day. I don't know I could do 70 now if I'm honest with you, but when I left the school I could still do 70. I was still the keepie uppie champion. We used to always have a competition with the primary 7 boys who were always football mad. So you have to do things like that to be cool.
I can't do 2. I always laugh at me because they're like, how can you not even do 2 keepie uppies? I'm like, I don't know, I'm just not, I think I've got too short a leg or something. I just can't.
I think I'd struggle to do 20 now if I'm honest with you. I've been
What even is a keepie uppie? I'm joking. Hey, listen, if any of our American friends are listening, they probably won't know what a keepie uppie is, will they? They're probably like, what are they saying?
Yeah, they'll think it's soccer. They'll know what a keepie uppie is. I think it's universal, but it'll be soccer, not football. Football will be American football here. If I say football to my friends in America, it's American football. They say soccer for football.
Yeah.
So, Brenda, let's go back to incorporating strength and mobility, because obviously this series that we're on is very much about fitness, and it has been the theme throughout. You know, like every single person we've spoke to that works in the fitness industry, that is what they've said: the importance of strength training, in both male and female, for how it helps us later on in life. Is there an age where, in your mind, that it's maybe too late? Like if somebody was 70 and wanted to start it, is it too late for them, or can anybody start at any age?
Yeah, it's never too late. I think that's a big fallacy that people think. Yeah, I'm too old to start now, and it's too late for me. It doesn't matter. You could be 90 years old and start strength training. Obviously, it'd be a different kind of strength training. So strength training comes in all shapes and forms. It doesn't have to be, if people think of strength training, they automatically, I think, lifting heavy weights. And it doesn't have to be that. Strength training is resistance training. So it's putting something between you and your body that you have to do something to fight for. So that could be done with a tin of beans, a band. You know, if you've been in the gym and we've done pull downs with a band, you're resisting that band. That's strength training. That will work just the same. A kettlebell, anything. There's so much you can do, but there is no age that you can't start ever. Anything. I think the UK as a society is getting better. But I think for a lot of years, we were very, very set on that. I'm too old, I'm too old, I'm too old. You're never too old, ever, to start something. You just have to do it in a different manner, maybe, and build up a wee bit slower. You can't, what you could lift in your 20s and how intense, the intensity of that is obviously going to be different if you're in your 60s, unless you've done it all your days. But if you're starting at your age 20 or starting at age 60, though you can do the same thing, the intensity will be different. And that's... And you'll have seen that in CrossFit. The intensity for you and maybe me and somebody else working in the gym would be 3 different things. We're still doing exactly the same movement, but the intensity or the weight or something like that would be different on it. So we're all getting the capacity is there for each and every person. But yeah, there's no age.
And so what would you say about, how would you explain or sum up what CrossFit is? And maybe we've got a difference between CrossFit and CrossFit Fife, because I do know that all affiliations, they work differently. They find their own community as such. So how would you sum up CrossFit? Because a lot of people still have a belief that it's really hardcore, that you've got to be a certain fitness level. You know, in the business I deal with inquiries, and I still to this day get, I've never trained for 5 years, I'm overweight, I'm not convinced CrossFit's for me, I've tried everything else. That's a big one I get. I've tried everything else. You know, and so it's that constant educating people that CrossFit is for anybody and everybody. So how would you sum it up or describe it to somebody?
I actually find it really difficult if I'm to talk to somebody, because I like to get them through our doors and basically go, this is what CrossFit is, because CrossFit is unique. But you've got all your elements in it. There's a big spiel, a CrossFit spiel, but I don't ever say that because it's just too much for people, and then they get scared because they always think it's about big weightlifting and all that. So it's strength training, and it's thrown in a wee bit cardio there, and some gymnastics moves. Now, if I say that, people think that's crazy. I don't do gymnastics. But they don't realise a gymnastic move could be stepping up and down off a box. Do you know what I mean? That's, you know, people always think, oh, gymnastics, oh my goodness, you're going to get me doing somersaults, and because people don't really think about gymnastics is. Gymnastics is you're putting your body through movements with your own body weight. So if you think of that, if you break it down to people, you think, all right, I could do that, a sit-up. You know, most people could do a sit-up. If they can't, we'll give them a scale to do. So you'll still be using exactly the same muscles. Weight training, we've just went through weight training. Yeah, we use a barbell, we use a kettlebell, we use a dumbbell. You know, but weight training comes in all shapes and sizes. So one barbell is 15 kilograms. If that's too heavy for you, we'll have broomsticks. You're still going to be doing exactly the same movement. So exactly the same muscles are going to get used. If I was using 50k on the bar and the girl next to me is using 20k on the bar, we're going to use exactly the same muscle groups to get that bar from A to B.
Yeah. And there's a lot of technique, Brenda, isn't there? There's a lot about getting the technique right and all of that. So it's a bit,
especially in our gym. I mean, I can't speak for every gym, but I know CrossFits are good on their I mean, we're very big on coaching. We're very big on being safe. I want everybody who comes through my door to work hard for the hour, to have a laugh, to high five at the end of it now that we can touch each other after sanitising our hands, obviously. And that should be the best. If you might have had a really, really bad day. Nobody knows what somebody has the time they wake up in the morning, the time they walk through my gym at whatever time that be. And we have classes from 6 o'clock in the morning up until 7:30 at night as our last class. So I don't know what their day's been. All I can make sure is when they come through my gym for that hour, it's a good hour for them. Whether that's to blow away the steam of the day and get any stresses out before they head home, or it's before they maybe been up with the kids all night and they've came to the gym for an hour to get away from that before they can go back and get themselves sorted for getting the kids to school. I find a big responsibility to make sure that everybody walking through the door at CrossFit goes away thinking, that was all right, that was okay, that was good, we have a laugh. That's my pure, I'm a very, very simple person. I'm not looking to do magical things here. I'm just wanting people to have a good time for an hour and feel better for it. And I think that's the magic of it, though. That's being magical, is to do that. Very simple.
And you've definitely created that without a doubt. And the coaches are the same, you know, they create that as well. And the other thing that I hear about with CrossFit, and this is, again, things that get fed back to me. So I want to bring it up on the podcast because I really do want to educate people on the benefits of CrossFit. But something that I hear sometimes is, oh, well, you get injured in CrossFit, don't you? Which always makes me laugh because I'm like, no, you don't get injured in CrossFit. And actually, there was one day, I can't remember if I've shared it on this podcast before or not, Lorraine, but there was one day in CrossFit, someone was saying something about, my friend went out for a run and he got a hamstring injury. He hadn't ran for 3 years. And I started laughing. I said, so it wasn't the running that caused the hamstring injury. It was the fact that he sat behind a desk for 30 years of his life and thought it was okay to just go for a run. You know, that's what caused the injury. You know, it's not the running that's caused it. And whoever it was at the time was laughing. I remember we were actually doing some barbell mashing at the time when we were having this conversation. But, you know, again, I can't speak for every CrossFit gym out there, but I can speak for ours. And the process that you put every member through when they walk through the door to ensure that injury is at the minimum. Like, we kind of help things happen, you know, box jumps, for example, Brenda. But what is the process that people go through when they walk into CrossFit Fife?
As in a class or from induction? Okay, so we walk through the door and the first thing you do is a range of motion. And that is basically 5 minutes of moving your arms, you know, touching your toes, having a few squats. It takes 5 minutes. That's just to get our body moving. That is all that is. There's nothing else other than to keep your body moving. Then we take everybody through a warm-up. And the warm-up can last anything from 5 to maybe 7 minutes, sometimes 10, not very often 10 minutes. You don't need 10 minutes. And the warm-up is then specific to what we're going to be doing later on in the class. So, for instance, today the workout is rowing, it's sit-ups and it's pull-ups. So our warm-up today was, now I wrote it so I should know. So we done I'm thinking, what did we do? No, we done one row. So we just went on the rower for 300 metres just to get our body moving. Then we came off and we done 2 rounds. And we incorporated a wee bit of mobility into the warm-up today, and then we've done more mobility. So we've done squat reaches. So we bent down to a squat position and we reached round and round one way then the other. So what does that do? That's what I was doing, is just dynamic. It's just, we're just warming up all the muscles that we're going to use, because pull-ups we're going to use our lats. So that movement there is warming up our lats. Squatting, we're going to be rowing, so we're going to be using our quads. That's what gets them warm. Then we've done American kettlebell swings, which American kettlebell swing, you'll know, Susie. You might know Lorraine. But an American, I'll help you out.
Oh, wait, no, Brenda, wait a minute. Let's have a bit of sport here. Come on, Lorraine. What do you think our American kettlebell swing is? Let's see what we get here.
Go all the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
See, I think she's secretly doing CrossFit.
Sorry, Brenda, I interrupted you.
No. So then we've done some American kettlebell swings, because we're going to be doing pull-ups. So we're going to be doing that motion there. So I was going to use our traps and our belts are going to get used. So that's going to warm that up. Also is going to warm up our hamstrings, because we've got to pivot to do that. So everything we do in the warm-up is going to then be for the WOD workout of the day. Then we do mobility. So we do mobility on the areas that we're really going to be using. So today we've done the box shoulder stretch. So we're stretching off our delts, our traps and our lats by doing that. The next one we did was, we got the roller out. So, you know, the foam rollers, we've got quite hard ones in CrossFit, because obviously we're hard. I'm joking. And we rolled out the bottom of our back, because we're going to be doing a lot of rowing. So it's going to be pulling on that back. So we want that nice and supple. And the last one was something else. I can't actually remember what we've done now. That's terrible. There's an age thing. What did we do? Oh, I'll tell you what, we've done the Cobra Stretch. So you'll know that from your yoga. And that was just say, loosen off our ab muscles for all the setups we're going to do. So we've done the Cobra Stretch. And then we go into the workout. So we go through the skill of that day. So today we went over rowing. There's a few new people in the class. So we went through a rowing technique, showing them the kind of pace that we wanted. Then we went over, it was an ab mat. So there's an ab mat, it's like a square thing that you do proper sit-ups on. And it puts your back into a nice position. It's also a wee bit harder on the abs. So I went over that. We also went over just a normal sit-up for the people who are going to be doing those. And then I went over a thing called a GHD, which is a Glute Ham Developer, which is a next level of sit-up. You can look that up on Lorraine.
No, it's not. Don't be silly.
GHD. You can look at that. And then we went over the skill for that. And then we get everybody set up for what they're going to do, because every single thing's scalable within that. So we go through all the scales, get everybody set up on their own wee station, and then the buzzer goes, and then it's all go. Once we've done the WOD, and it lasted around about 20 minutes today, we wiped down all our equipment, and then we actually had a stretch off today because we had 5 minutes to spare, so we stretched off, and then they all toddled out for a wee cool down walk together, so they can chat and see how great they are. And that's it. There you go. And then I hoovered.
Something that
I love,
exercise
with all the hoovering you do, Brenda.
Something that I loved being part of CrossFit Fife was, you know, you got the people who were obviously, you know, they were there consistently, they showed up all the time. There was parts of that WOD every day that they were just like, oh no, I don't want to do it. Oh, I hate this, you know. So it's just like, you know, as somebody who's not a regular exerciser, it's like, all right, so even when they don't like it, you still just like push yourself to go and do it type thing. So just when you're saying rowing, I know that was always a thing.
It was probably one of my least favourite workouts today. I do the WODs the same. I do them. I train in between the class, and it was one of my least favourite things today. But you just do it. You just get it done. You feel better for it. You tick the box. What I would say to everybody though, and what CrossFit brings to the table that maybe other places don't, is we are completely inclusive community-wise. We take adults, which from age 16, our oldest member I think is maybe Lorraine at 72, who is just phenomenal, and we've got everything in between, and that's CrossFit for me. CrossFit's community is CrossFit. We changed from Forge and Elite Fitness to Fitness for Life for that reason, because it should be all encompass of your whole life. And that then can be from somebody who, you know, we've got people who don't keep brilliantly in the gym, but they come in, they get their WOD done, changes their life. You've got people who compete in the gym, so they're at a competition level, and they're working alongside in a class environment. You just don't get that anywhere else. I don't care what anybody says, you just don't. It's just a nice way to work. It's a nice way to spend an hour.
Yeah. The two things that I love the most, like coming from as an outsider into CrossFit, and I knew nothing about it, so I had no sort of conceptions about it. I'd never even heard of the term CrossFit when I came along. But the two things I loved the most, the first one was that there are no mirrors in the gym. Yeah. And I love that, like because there's no mirrors, there's not really a lot of egos, and there's not really people checking themselves out. So everybody is actually there just to work out. We're not there to pick up a male or a female, or we're there to work out, have a laugh, and encourage each other. That was the first thing. The second thing, I've been in gyms for like many times in my life, you know, different types of gyms that I went along to in different phases, and I never really knew what to do. You know, I'd just tip up a gym, and I'd maybe, as you know, Brenda, I'm a bit of a cardio person, so I'd maybe go in the running machine, or I would do cardio type stuff, or I'd go to a class like maybe I don't know, like a step aerobics class or something back in the day. And that's what I would do. I would never ever know how to go into a gym and give myself a proper workout, but CrossFit's taught me that. So I can go to any gym in the world, and there doesn't have to be anybody there telling me what to do, and I know what to do, because CrossFit has completely taught me how to stretch my body, how to warm it up, and then how to give a workout to myself. And I think that is absolutely incredible. So even if people come, listen, when they come along to CrossFit Fife, we obviously want them to be part of the community for a long time. But even if they come along just for 6 months and learn how to move better, that they can then incorporate it in their own houses or wherever they are, because at the end of the day, it's about people living longer, healthier lives. And we know that CrossFit does that for people, don't we?
Yeah, 100%, 110%. And you're right, Lydia, sorry, Susie, you're right. As a coach, that's all I can ask, is that somebody goes out my class learning something, knowing, as you say, you could be anywhere in the world, and you do that now. You can go to any gym in the world, you know how to stretch, you know how to warm up, you know how to do things properly. We don't have a lot of injuries in our gym. You'll always get niggles, but we don't have a lot of injuries because we coach in our gym. And most CrossFits, I'm not speaking for them all because I don't know every CrossFit, but I know in CrossFit Fife that you will get coached. And that is a massive thing for me as a coach and an owner, because at the bottom line, if somebody hurts themselves or gets an injury, that's on us. If it happens in our gym, so we have a very, very, very low rate of injury. Yeah. You've got more chance of getting up off the couch and going for a packet of crisps and pulling your hamstring.
Are you listening, Lorraine? I'm joking. Like, all this is going to come back to bite me one day, isn't it, Lorraine? You're just like piling it all up ready for me.
I know.
She's coming.
One days I'm going to get myself together and we'll be on a beach somewhere, and you'll be like, oh, what's been going on here? What have you been up to? Working out.
And there's another thing though. There's, I don't think there's anybody who walks through a CrossFit gym door and want to be skinny.
Yeah.
People come to CrossFit to become fitter and to be happy with their body, because it doesn't matter what shape or size you are, your body will look better if you work out. Yeah. Regardless if you're bigger we have skinny girls in our gym, but they're not skinny because they want to be skinny, but just that's the way they're built.
Yep.
But if they had a bikini on with somebody who's a bit bigger in our gym, their bodies are going to look fabulous regardless, because then you have confidence in your body. So it doesn't matter if you're carrying a wee bit of, love handle here or a wee bit flab there. You don't have that if you CrossFit like, but people should be proud of what their body can do.
Uh-huh.
They should never shy away from putting a swimsuit on or a bikini. It doesn't matter what size you are, because your bodies are amazing. They get you from, they get you through life. So be proud of that. And if you need to change a wee bit of your body, well then go and do something that you want to change.
Yeah.
But and I think nobody should be beating themselves up about it.
That we hear a lot, from the members in CrossFit, is just how proud they are of what they've achieved. So you really are competing against yourself, just where you start and then how you're getting better and better and better. And it was always loved it when people were brave enough to share, you know, and they maybe did have pictures, before and after pictures, but certainly was never focused on what they looked. It was about
not.
how
We've had people walk through our doors and they wanted to lose weight. We have a lot of people, especially women, oh, I need to lose a bit of weight. And then you get them 3 to 6 months later. Now, the weight maybe hasn't fluctuated too much because as your composition of your body will change. You know, your look of your body will change. So you might have not lost weight, but the look of your body will change. But what they then focus on, oh, I've just done an 80 kilogram deadlift. Oh my goodness, I've just swung a 20k kettlebell. That's what they're focusing on now. They're not even worried about, is it a size 10 or 12 I'm wearing, because their body, they feel good in their body. Yeah. That's massive to me.
Yeah, that is.
Strips away from negativity and, oh my goodness, I've got to lose this, to look what I can do.
It's
amazing.
Yeah. Such a positive spin on it, isn't it? Rather than some of the things that we see on social media or everywhere. Exactly. So listen, I feel as if we definitely have to speak to you about some of these challenges that you've been getting up to. Your last one in particular. Tell everybody what mental stuff you've been getting up to.
Well, this year I do a challenge. I do 2 challenges every year. One I've done for the last 10 years, one I've done for the last 5 years. So the one I've done for the last 5 years is for my really good friend, and it's for Miscarriage Awareness. So I do a 3-hour challenge, which it still seems a bit crazy, and it is a bit crazy, but hey ho, it raises awareness, it raises money for a helpline for people going through that. Not everybody is very lucky in life to have kids. So that's one of them. And then another one I do for cancer, I've done for the last 10 years, and this is my last year actually. I just completed my last one. I feel it's a good time to step out after 10 years. And I've done 24 workouts in 24 hours. So on the hour, every hour for 24 hours, I started a new workout. And I still get teary thinking about it because people were just amazing. It takes my breath away every year that people are so kind and supporting me to do that. So it's very, very humbling.
As Susie said, you know, that's because of how you show up every day for people. So, you know, it's not, you know, it's nice for people to be able to give something back to you. And you raised an amazing amount of money, didn't you?
Yeah, for over $9,000, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Well done.
It's bizarre, but never again. That was a hard one. It wasn't as hard as last year's though, up the mountain.
So, oh, really?
Yeah, I climbed Ben Nevis with 2 16k kettlebells in my hand last year. Yeah, don't do that one, Lorraine.
All right, I'll score that off my list.
Score it off, don't do it. It's just too far. John nearly divorced me over that one because he had to come with me. I think that, you know, and there's a thing, you know, I'll be 53 in a couple of months, my goodness. But, you know, I've just done 24 workouts and I recovered really, really well from it. And that's because I put things in place to recover. Mm-hmm. So I stretched. I've got a barrel at the back, so we do cold water in the house. So, you know, all those things, I kept moving. And yeah, I was sore, a wee bit dodgy for a couple of weeks, but at no point I was at the gym coaching 2 days later. Mm-hmm. So it is all about putting those things in place. Mobility is massive. Look after your bodies, and your body will serve you well. But if you don't look after your body, it won't serve you well. It's as simple as that, really.
Yeah, it's so true. And there's a couple of things I just want to pick up on. First of all, kindness attracts kindness. So, you know, I know that you're overwhelmed with kindness, Brenda, but you absolutely deserve it. And I don't think when we're a humble type of person, I don't think we ever truly understand that. But honestly, you've attracted it all with everything that you've done over the years. And then the other thing I want to talk about is about that importance of looking after the body, because we know how important it is to look after the body. And I am going back to comparing CrossFit to other gyms, and maybe I shouldn't, but I want to. It's my podcast and I'm going to. So, one of the things that makes me really, really, really proud is the fact that you talk about how people's body shape changes in CrossFit because they're doing the exercise, they're doing what they need to do. but they also have to eat really well. And you spoke about that. Like, that was your third thing, was about how people eat well. And of course, my little tool, my little biophotonic scanner that I love, that I take everywhere with me, when I take that into normal mainstream gyms, people don't score well. And I'm not going to go into the science of the scanner, because it was on our nutritional podcast section, but they don't score well. You take that into a CrossFit gym, and the majority of people, first time, they score well because they're looking after themselves. Now, when I first went to CrossFit, I maybe shouldn't tell anybody this story. I remember I done my induction. I got home the next day, I couldn't get out of my bed. I've never shared that one before. I was absolutely gubbed. I was like, what is going on? And I wasn't a member of the gym, as in I wasn't an owner. So I knew nothing about it. And I contacted the coach and was like, what's going on? And the coach said, look, it's not unnormal for that to happen. It's because you've not been looking after your body. You've not been eating properly. Your body wasn't set up for what was about to come. You're going to have to start looking at nutrition and eating better. And that's the thing that we teach in CrossFit, is to eat well. And the reality is, to train at the level that you train, or that others in CrossFit train at, they do actually have to look after their bodies. It almost forces them to look after their body, because it does dig deep, doesn't it? It's really, and so what would you say, very briefly, how would you sum up eating well? What would that look like?
I always think of my plate being like a rainbow. Make it colourful, make it look good. But everybody in the world knows what to do. Everybody knows what they should be eating, because you from a wee girl, when you were a wee girl, you would always have your meat, your veg on your plate. And then fast foods came into it, and people decided, actually, I'm going to have a Chinese instead tonight. So people didn't, and I think people are now starting to turn again. So get your salad down if a salad's a thing. But if you like a salad, get your eggs in there, your tuna in there. Make it colourful, make it beetroot, get all those good nutrients in you. If you love vegetables, and I love vegetables, so I'm really lucky. So if I'm having steak pie, and I love steak pie, and I like my pastry, I'm not doing without my pastry if I have a steak pie. But the other side of my plate will be full of greens. It'll be full of good nutrient vegetables. So I'm not going to sit to myself, I can't have that pastry. I'm having that pastry. So, but balance it out. Balance it out. You don't have to have a slabby pastry. Have a bit more, less. It's like, and in fact, I can't remember the girl who had on the podcast. And I have to say, before I go any further, I've thoroughly enjoyed your podcast. I've actually learned so much from all your guests. From the day dot, I've learned something from absolutely everybody that's been on your podcast. So they all should be congratulated, because we all can learn from each other. If people have got this thing that I don't need to learn anymore. No, you do. Listen to that person, because it might just be a wee bit of advice that you think, didn't know that before. So, and every single person on your podcast have went on about that. And there was one, I can't remember who it says, about the avocado, or this, avocados, it's so good for you, and it is good for you, but not a whole avocado. That's just fat. You know what I mean? And we've got this, if you go into, one of these new cafes, avocado on toast. No, you didn't need that much avocado in your toast. Don't have a quarter of an avocado. Don't have a whole avocado. Unless you can balance
it.
It's
good.
It's good. It is, but you can't have that every day in life, could you? No, exactly. So
it's green.
It's green.
Lorraine, listen, Brenda said that your plate's got to be colourful. Just go and get a big bag of Skittles, open them up, put them on your plate. You'll be grand.
Yeah, it's fine. and I'm a thing, because I like food, and I like all food. I like junk food. I like good food. I like it all. And that's what I was saying, the 80-20. I don't ever deny myself anything. I just do it in moderation. I don't ever have a Chinese one day and a Chinese the next day. It's all about living. It's all about realising that, and we all know it. It's just having the discipline. And it does come down to a wee bit discipline. And I think actually it was Rick Cheshire always taught me this one, that if you think you're hungry, go and get a glass of water. Drink a glass of water down. And if you're still hungry an hour later, then eat something. 9 times out of 10, it's because you're bored. You're sitting watching a program, you're going, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You're bored. Go and do something. You're not hungry. You're bored. Go for a walk. Do the ironing.
Oh no.
Write a book. Read a book. Oh, maybe not the iron. That's maybe taking it too far.
That's the rubbish one. That's too far.
Too far. But that's that. In a nutshell, don't deny yourself anything, but don't be silly with the amounts that you eat that you know that you shouldn't be eating. Have a bit. Everybody should have a wee bit of discipline, but enjoy life. 80-20. Big advocate about it. 80-20. If I want a beer on a Wednesday night, I'm going to have a beer on a Wednesday night with my dinner. I'm not going to say to myself, you can't have that. Not that I ever do, obviously.
Obviously.
Body's a temple.
Oh, Susie, anything else? I've just noticed the time there. So, Brenda, we could just forever there. That was amazing. Thank you. So, just the last question, which would be, if you were going to give our listeners one bit of advice or one tip that they could go and implement in their lives right now to help them towards healthy aging, what would that one thing be?
Go outside, walk. Go out, walk, breathe. Give yourself some thinking time. You know what? I appreciate being on this earth. It's the biggest bit of advice. How many people are out there thinking, I'm too old to do that, I'm too old to get outside. Breathe, appreciate what's around you. If you do that every day, if you are grateful for something every day in life, you'll never go wrong. There's lots of people who don't get that day. Always appreciate that you've got that day. It's just simple for me. There's so many people that I've lost this year, last year, 10 years ago, that would give anything to be going for a walk or, I don't know, picking a football with their kid at the park. Never take it for granted. Simple.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great tip. Thank you so much. And at the end of the podcast, we always do a little promo. This is going to be hard for me to promote where Brenda works, eh? So, followers, if you would like to find Brenda or any of her business partners, you can find her at www.crossfitfife.com, or you can find her on Facebook or Instagram, CrossFit Fife. Very easy to find. The social media content is amazing, especially now, those Instagram stories. Lorraine, you were brilliant at them. You were brilliant. But the coach is on site all the time, putting up those Instagram stories. So, if you're listening to our podcast, you've not watched CrossFit Fife Instagram stories yet, get on there and get looking at them. It's all Brenda's work.
It's the one thing that I give.
Love it. Brilliant. Thanks so much, Brenda. And next week we will be we'll be starting a new series next week. Next week we'll be going into series 4, which is all about how to have healthy skin as we age, and the podcast is going to be a little bit different with the next 6 guests, although it's going to be 5 guests because Lorraine and I will do the first one, so it will be a little bit different, but it's going to be dead exciting. So come and join us as we go into that series, and have a great week, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us.